Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Monday, August 29th. And for those of you that are just tuning in and are getting this as their first podcast from me since Friday, you've missed a couple. I did at least 2 this weekend. My one yesterday was almost half an hour. A lot has gone on. And so I am going to tell you that I am going to start with the very end of yesterday, and this is going to be a fairly short one. And if you want more, you're going to need to go back to yesterday to listen to my whole entire play-by-play of the day. But I will summarize yesterday and this weekend. So when we left on Friday, Turner had made nominations. His nominations were Taylor and Brittany, with Michael as his backdoor target. Michael decided to do what I was calling a scorched earth thing, and actually he talked about he wasn't going to, he was going to do stuff on Saturday morning to himself, that he would just kind of just drop everything and just go all out to destroy Kyle's game. And Michael did end up winning the power veto. So we know that today Michael is going to use the power veto on probably Brittany. And there was talk of who's Turner going to put up. It doesn't really matter at this point who Turner was going to put up. He wasn't going to put up Kyle. How's that for the answer? He is now, by the way. Spoiler alert. And this is the 30 minutes worth of podcast yesterday where I explained how Michael went on a tour of the different house guests, talking to them about Kyle's previous discussions with, I think, Brittany and Michael, and I'm not sure if anybody else right now, about his perception that there might be a all-black alliance. Like, let's just get right to the possible Cookout 2.0 kind of a thing, and how that wouldn't be good for his game, since he's not a person of color. And so Michael basically said Kyle's trying to form an all-white alliance, or that's the way it sure looked to him, kind of a thing. And that's the big thing that went on yesterday. When I left things, Kyle had gone into the diary room, and we hadn't seen him. After he realized what Michael was doing, he went to the diary room because he told Alyssa, he says, if that's what's going on, if I'm being called a racist, I'm done. I can't play this game anymore. I'm not in a I think in both the way of no one's in the house is gonna vote for me, and I'm just gonna be completely massacred outside the house if that's what's going on. And so he goes into the diary room, and that's where I was out walking the dog because we hadn't seen him. And he did end up, the feeds came back after I finished my podcast last night for about, 10 minutes or so, maybe, I think. And as it turned out, the feeds were at least partially down because they were having Michael's movie night, which he won from the power veto. And so Michael, Taylor, Turner, and Alyssa all watched a movie upstairs in the head of household room. I don't know the movie yet. Somebody speculated on what it was, but it's a movie that I think hasn't been released yet. I'm sure we'll get told what it is on Wednesday's show, maybe, because they probably paid to promote it. But they watched the movie. It sounds like while they were watching the movie, Kyle may have come out of the diary room and had a conversation with at least Brittany. All we know from that, the only reason we know that is because Brittany said it was brutal while they were watching the movie. And we don't know any real details on that, but it sounds like Michael may have talked to Brittany, or not Michael, Kyle may have talked to Brittany while the feeds were down, or while they were watching the movie. But we didn't get any details, but then we did see Michael walk out, right, because the feeds came back as the movie had gotten over, and so we saw Taylor and Michael coming down the staircase with popcorn in their hands. So they literally had just walked out of the movie. And while they were downstairs, I don't know where Michael went. I think Michael went to a back bedroom. Kyle came walking out. Don't know where Kyle came walking out from, but he comes walking out, and that's where initially I thought he had just come out of the diary room, because he kind of comes out and he walks past the crowd. He goes, is Michael around? And they said, I think he's in the back bedroom. And then he turned around and went back that way. And that was all we saw of Michael in that little time frame of feeds. But it was enough to say, well, Michael's back in the house. He's out of the diary room. And then the feeds went down for another, I don't know, hour or two. I don't even know at this point. And when they came back, we saw the house guests playing pool. We saw Turner, was it Turner, Monty, Terrence, and Taylor, I think, playing pool outside. And then, Mike, you would assume that Michael, Kyle, Brittany, and Alyssa were inside. We don't know what was going on. I don't know what was going on, and that's when I called it a night. The conversation wasn't talking about anything in particular. I guess, at some point, there was a point where the feeds came back when they got the backyard initially. That's right. The feeds came back and they were getting the backyard, and Brittany, that's when she said it was brutal when they were watching the movie. And she and Alyssa and Taylor got in the hammock to talk, and then the feeds cut. And they were down for 2 hours, and when they came back, they were playing pool. The people that I said were playing pool. And I realized that it seemed like they were going to cut anytime anything was mentioned that might give any indication of what was going on. So I went to bed. And it sounds like I didn't miss any great details. And Kyle is pretty much, well, he's being shunned or he's self-isolating. You can take it for either way or a combination of both. But I know that they said that last night everybody except for Kyle was sitting out around the hot tub, and Kyle was inside at the kitchen. So at this point, I think Kyle's going to be very limited on the feeds for the rest of the week. Turner has told Kyle that he's dominating into tomorrow, and Kyle's, I guess, said he knows, and he knows he's going to get evicted. So that's that. Michael's plan worked. And Kyle will be getting evicted on Thursday. So it went from another case of looks like Taylor's going to go to now another person's getting evicted instead of Taylor. So I don't know what's going to happen next week. I think Turner was promised some safety if he makes this move, like a week's worth of safety, by I think Monty and Michael and Brittany maybe. I also think I saw somewhere that somebody said that the after party alliance was outed. It sounds like a lot of stuff was talked about when the feeds were down. It sounds like maybe a lot of people's games were exposed, so it could be a bit of a reset. But yeah, it was quite a day yesterday, quite a weekend, and I don't know how CBS is going to tell this on Wednesday's show. I really don't. There is so much. They've got all these issues with Kyle that we've talked about, that have been talked about for weeks, and now as people have been saying, stop protecting Kyle was what the hashtag going around was. Well, now CBS is going to have to explain about all this stuff. And I don't know how they're going to tell the story. I don't know how they're going to present it in an hour, unless they extend it into Thursday's show, which they may, before Kyle is evicted and Julie has a talk with Kyle. I have a feeling that this isn't the way they plan for these next two episodes to go, and so they're having to change things up. Anyways, that's what's going on. That is my mostly brief update. I gave a really long play-by-play of yesterday's goings-on, because trust me, it was a lot of talks. Michael and Brittany had conversations with Alyssa, with Turner. Monty was talking with Terrence. Monty was talking with Turner. Kyle was talking with Alyssa. So, yeah, I broke down all of those conversations. And there's actually a moment that's never going to be shown. And I don't even think a lot of people even realized it, but where Terrence is the one who inadvertently got Kyle to realize that they may show it, but they won't show it correctly because Turner misheard Monty. I've already told this, and so I feel like I'm repeating it, but it's like, man, the moment was just amazing. That Turner misunderstood Monty in what he was explaining to him about Kyle's alliance or thoughts and theories and everything. And Terrence thought that Monty was talking about Brittany and Michael and told Kyle as much. And that's what set Kyle spiraling and heading into the diary room. So anyways, all right, folks, that's it. I have a feeling that the rest of the week's going to be fairly quiet. Maybe, probably. We'll see. Hope you had a good weekend. And I'll talk to you all tomorrow, I suppose. We'll see. Assuming nothing else happens, but I cannot fathom what else might happen in the next 24 hours that make me talk to you sooner. I think it's going to be pretty quiet. Oops. I say oops because I was starting to pull out in front of a car. He's in my blind spot. All right, with that, now I'm gone. We'll talk to you folks later. Bye-bye.